This is Vanished Whispers-TrueCrime, where silence speaks louder than screams. And today's story? It begins with a disappearance and ends with a letter that rewrote everything the investigators thought they knew. This is the story of Emily West, and the letter she left changed everything about the case. Emily West was 27, an aspiring writer, quiet, reserved, but fiercely independent. She lived alone in a modest duplex just outside Asheville, North Carolina. Friends described her as brilliant, observant, always lost in her head. She was working on a novel, but no one ever got to read it. On February 12, 2018, Emily didn't show up for her shift at the bookstore. That wasn't like her. Her manager called. No answer. Her phone went straight to voicemail. By the next morning, her best friend Kara Jensen drove to her apartment.
The lights were off, the blinds were drawn, and the mailbox was overflowing. That's when I knew something wasn't right.
Inside, there were no signs of forced entry. The door was locked. Her car still in the driveway, laptop on the table, half a cup of cold coffee, and on the kitchen counter, a sealed envelope, unmarked, no name, no address, just waiting. The police were called. They opened the letter. It read,
"If you're reading this, then I've gone too far and someone is following me. Please don't trust him. He smiles too much. You'll know what I mean. Signed, E."
Detectives were immediately struck. Gone too far? Someone following her? Smiles too much? Was this paranoia? A cry for help? Or maybe something else? The case was classified as a missing person investigation. But what they uncovered in the next 72 hours? Well, it changed everything.
We searched her home. Nothing was out of place. But then, we checked her computer. That's when we saw it. A folder labeled, "For later." Inside were scanned pages from a diary.
The entries were chilling.
"There's someone watching me again. Same man from the coffee shop. The one with the clean shoes and crooked grin. I think he knows where I live. He smiled at me again today. I pretended not to notice, but he followed me to the bus stop."
Investigators now had a possible stalker.
She told me about this guy like months before. Said he made her skin crawl. I thought she was just being overly cautious. Now I wish I'd believed her.
But there was no name, no description, just the man who smiles too much. Security footage from her block showed nothing unusual. No forced entry, no suspicious visitors. Just one blurry clip from a week before she vanished. A man standing across the street, hands in pockets, watching, smiling. But his face was never clearly seen, and he never came back. Then the investigation hit a wall. No body, no suspects, no leads. Emily West had simply vanished. For 6 months, the case went cold, until a second letter appeared. This time, it was mailed directly to Asheville PD. Same handwriting, same ink, same initials.
"I see you're still looking, but you won't find her. She trusted me. That was her mistake."
There were no fingerprints, no DNA, no return address.
This one letter changed the case from a disappearance to a possible homicide. Or worse, someone was taunting us. Someone close enough to know we were still searching.
The letter was sent from Greenville, South Carolina, just over an hour away. Surveillance from the post office showed nothing. Cameras weren't working, no witnesses remembered anything. But then, a former coworker of Emily came forward, Daniel Price, quiet, polite. He said he worked with her for about 6 months at the bookstore.
"She was a genius, way too smart for this town."
But, there was one detail he let slip. He mentioned seeing her new manuscript. Only, that manuscript had never been shared. Not with coworkers, not even with Kara.
You said Emily showed you pages of her novel. Where was this?
She gave me a few drafts to read after closing shift. Just feedback, you know?
You sure about that? Because her laptop didn't have any shared files.
Maybe I'm mistaken.
But, you know, the look on his face said otherwise. a background check revealed something else. Daniel had changed his name back in 2014. Real name, Robert D. Wells. He'd been arrested once, in 2011, stalking, but the charges were dropped. And the victim? She was an aspiring author from a different state. But it was a similar story, just a different ending. Still, there was never enough to tie him to Emily. To this day, Emily West has never been found. No further letters were ever received, and Daniel, or Robert, moved states. He vanished into anonymity. The only thing left behind was the first letter, the one that changed everything. Was Emily paranoid, or did she see something no one else did? Was the letter a warning or a setup, and what did she mean by, "He smiles too much"? This is the question investigators still ask. This is the question that keeps Kara Jensen awake at night. And this is the mystery that still haunts Asheville. Emily West vanished, and all she left was a whisper. This was Vanished Whispers True Crime. If you were gripped by this story, subscribe, like, and join us as we uncover more real cases that the world forgot. But we didn't. Until next time, keep listening for the whispers. Gap 2S. But just when it seemed the story had reached its end, a new voice emerged from the shadows. A witness choosing to remain anonymous came forward with a statement that would unsettle even the most seasoned investigators. This individual claimed to have seen Emily West on the evening she vanished, standing at the edge of Miller's Woods, speaking urgently with a man in a gray coat. According to the witness, Emily's body language was tense, her arms crossed protectively, her voice raised just enough to carry through the damp night air. The man, described as tall with a noticeable limp, handed her a small package wrapped in brown paper. Moments later, Emily looked over her shoulder, as if sensing she was being watched. The witness recalled, "She saw me, I think." Her eyes met mine for a second, and then she shook her head, almost imperceptibly, as if warning me away. I felt a chill run down my spine. I left before I could see what happened next. When pressed for more details, the witness added, "I heard a car door slam, then nothing but silence. I never saw Emily again." This statement, delivered years after the case went cold, raises more questions than it answers. Who was the man in the gray coat? What was in the mysterious package? And why did Emily seem so desperate for privacy and so afraid? With this new testimony, the shadows around Emily West's disappearance only deepen. Gap 2S. The truth, it seems, is still out there, waiting to be found. Voiceover. Detective Morrison, let's start from the beginning. You say you have information about the night Emily West disappeared. Informant, I was there. Not close, but close enough. Detective Morrison, you saw her in Miller's Woods? Informant, yes, she wasn't alone. But it's not just the man in the gray coat. There was someone else, watching from the trees. Detective Morrison, someone else? Can you describe them? Informant, no face, just a shadow. But I heard a whisper. It's not safe, it said. Or maybe she's not safe. I can't be sure. Detective Morrison, you mentioned a package. Did you see what was inside? Informant, no, but I heard glass, like bottles clinking, and something heavy. She hesitated before taking it. Detective Morrison, did Emily seem afraid? Informant, afraid, yes, but also angry. She said, I won't let you ruin this. The man laughed. It wasn't a nice sound. Detective Morrison, what happened after the exchange? Informant, she walked away, toward the old service road. The man followed, limping. The shadow stayed behind. I heard a car start, but I never saw who drove away. Detective Morrison, you said earlier you didn't see a car. Informant pauses. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I only heard it. It's hard to remember. The woods play tricks. Detective Morrison, why come forward now? Informant, because the truth is twisted. What you're looking for, it's not what you think. Gap 2S. As Detective Morrison's questions grow more pointed, the informant's answers only deepen the mystery. Contradictions emerge, snippets of truth tangled with uncertainty. Was there a shadowy third figure? What was in the package? And what did Emily mean when she said, I won't let you ruin this? With every answer, the case grows colder, and the shadows around Emily West's fate stretch even longer. Voiceover. Just when the trail seemed to vanish into darkness, a startling piece of evidence is uncovered. In a sealed police evidence bag, a charred cell phone believed to be Emily's, emerges from the ashes of a recent brush fire not far from Miller's Woods. Forensic teams managed to recover fragments of video from the device. The grainy footage shows Emily, visibly shaken, glancing over her shoulder in the dim light. A distorted voice, barely audible, warns, "You're running out of time." In the background, the silhouette of a second person, too tall to be the man in the gray coat, lurks in the shadows. Meanwhile, security camera footage from a gas station several miles away is brought to light. The timestamp matches the night of Emily's disappearance. There, a car pulls up. Emily is in the passenger seat, arguing with someone off camera. The driver's face is never seen, but a gloved hand reaches out, passing her a small, dark object. Moments later, Emily exits the car, clutching the item and glancing anxiously at the lens. This new evidence raises chilling questions. Was Emily trying to escape, or was she being forced to run? Who was the mysterious driver, and who was the second shadow in the woods? The narrative the town thought it knew begins to unravel, revealing a web of secrets more tangled than anyone imagined. As investigators pore over the disturbing footage, one thing becomes clear. The truth about Emily West's disappearance is far more sinister and far from over. Voiceover. Just as investigators start to piece together a timeline from the disturbing evidence, the case takes an unexpected turn. A late-night phone call to the tip line comes from an anonymous voice, trembling with fear. The caller claims to have seen Emily days after her alleged disappearance, alive, in the company of a woman no one has ever mentioned before. Surveillance footage from a nearby diner, time-stamped 3 days after Emily vanished, appears to corroborate the tip. A woman matching Emily's description sits in a corner booth, her face partially obscured, nervously tapping a pattern on the tabletop. Across from her is a woman in a red raincoat, her features hidden by a wide-brimmed hat. The two exchange a small envelope before quickly leaving through separate exits. Investigators scramble to identify this new figure. Was she an accomplice, a friend, or someone forcing Emily into silence? Theories swirl. Was Emily orchestrating her own disappearance? Or was she caught in a game far more dangerous than anyone knew? The emergence of this mysterious woman upends everything. The evidence no longer fits a single narrative. Each new lead deepens the shadows around Emily's fate, pulling the case further from resolution. As the investigation unravels, one haunting truth remains. Someone knows what happened to Emily West, but the web of secrets grows more tangled with every clue. And for now, the answers remain just out of reach. Voiceover. As word spreads about the mysterious woman in the red raincoat, the police tip line is flooded with calls. Among them, 3 witnesses step forward with chillingly detailed statements. The first, a night shift waitress from the diner, recalls the odd tension between the two women. Emily seemed nervous, glancing over her shoulder every few minutes while her companion barely spoke, her hand clutching the envelope tightly. The waitress remembers a fragment of their whispered conversation, "It's not safe. Not here." The second witness, a cab driver, describes picking up a distraught woman matching Emily's description outside the diner. She was trembling, clutching the envelope, and repeatedly asked if anyone had followed her. He remembers the fear in her eyes and her final words before leaving the cab. "Please, don't tell anyone you saw me." The third statement comes from a regular at the diner, who claims to have seen the woman in the red raincoat before, always alone, always watching. He describes her as a shadow that moves with purpose, her presence unsettling enough that other patrons avoided her. These statements paint a picture more complex than anyone imagined. Emily's disappearance now seems less like a vanishing act and more like a desperate escape. The mysterious woman is no longer just a possible accomplice. She's a looming threat, her motives unreadable, her connection to Emily shrouded in secrecy. As detectives pore over the transcripts, a sense of urgency grows. If Emily is alive, she is running from something, or someone, far more dangerous than the investigators first believed. The haunting question remains, is she still out there, hiding in plain sight, or has the shadow finally caught up with her? Voiceover. After months of dead ends and tangled clues, the truth about Emily West's disappearance finally breaks through the darkness. In a dramatic turn, detectives uncover a hidden conspiracy, one that threads through the very heart of Emily's life, entangling those she trusted most. Evidence reveals that her closest friends and even family members were drawn into a web of secrets, manipulation, and betrayal. The mysterious woman in the red raincoat was not a stranger after all, but someone Emily once called a confidant, now revealed as the orchestrator behind the scenes. Shockwaves ripple through the community as confessions emerge. The letters, the diary entries, and the chilling witness statements all fall into place, exposing a plan designed to force Emily into hiding. Her desperate escape was not just from a single threat, but from a network of deceit that left her with nowhere to turn. The emotional impact is staggering. Viewers are left in awe as the final pieces of the puzzle lock together, the mystery resolved, but at a devastating cost. As the dust settles, the haunting truth lingers. Sometimes the greatest dangers come not from strangers, but from those who stand closest to us.